This is SQL Server Management Studio, this is what we will be using for our training today, and it's going to be hands-on. All right, so at some point we will head to Lucidchart to design our model. Keep it simple that way. We'll call it Entity Relationship Diagram, ERD. All right, so if you are here, this is the interface you get when you when you open SSMS. And this is the database engine, which is a SQL Server itself. This database engine is the same as this. This SQL Server I explained yesterday is different from SSMS. SQL Server is a database engine. SSMS is the GUI, the interface you use to access the database engine and also run SQL query and other SQL Server services. So this is the name I registered with when I created it. And when you created, when you install it, if you use maximum security, you should be able to authenticate using window authentication. But if you use SQL authentication, you may not be able to use window authentication. And recommended one is window authentication. However, in companies, you will likely be given access to password in most companies. So if that is the case, you will have to choose SQL Server authentication. If it's in Azure, you have to choose Azure Active Directory if that's where the password is, and you will be told. If you're not told, please ask questions. It's important to do. All right, so we move on. When I click here, I will log in. This window authentication is the same thing as my computer. You know, when you on your computer, if you passworded it, even if you don't, window authentication means I am using the username and the password you use in logging into your computer when your computer opened. That's what it means. So it's assuming that you own it. Therefore, since you own it, you're the one opening it, then we're giving you access to your database, which is actually on your computer. Now, when you click here, you log in. Let's assume you did not see this. You can come to connect here and choose what you want to connect to. It will come up. Connect. I'll go back again. Connect. Database engine, that's what you want. You connect. And of course, if you have different accounts, it will show. Like I have multiple accounts here. All right, so but I like using this. I will go to connect and it's connected. So when it connects, it will show you this. When you're seeing this, it means you are connected. If I want to disconnect, I will just come here. You can see this icon here. Icon here. That is disconnect. And if I click on it, it disconnects me. But you can see now I can't find anything here. So if I want to connect, I need to click the one next to it. I will connect. Brings me here, and then I will connect. And here we are on my connected SSMS interface. So now let's talk about this again, though I explained them yesterday. So this is the Object Explorer. Object Explorer means inside here, this is where you see all the databases. This out here. So this is where you see all your database, tables, stored procedure, views, security, everything that you can create in this database engine is here, and that is why it's called Object Explorer, because your database is an object, your view is an object, your stored procedure, these are objects. That's why it's called Object Explorer. You can explore everything you're looking for from there. So as we proceed, please do ask questions if you need to. All right, so when you have this, you can see the database. I'm going to limit our teaching to database because this teaching is not for the database administrator. So I'm going to limit it to this. For the database admin, DBA, you can learn all these other ones and so as to make it a good DBA. So when I click here, on database, expand it, it gives me system databases and database snapshots. And what are these system databases? You can see master, model, MSDB, tempdb. So these are the database that come with the system, and without them, the system cannot work. So they came with the system. Without them, the system cannot work. So you do not have business with the system database. What you have business with is user-defined database. That is the database you as the user defined yourself. That is what we call user-defined database. And this is one I created yesterday, new test. I am going to go ahead. All right, so this is how it looks like. And when I expand it, I will see things like database diagram, tables, views, external resources, synonyms, programmability, service broker storage services. Most likely you are going to be working with tables, views. So when I click on tables, there are no tables yet. I do not have any tables yet, so it's not going to show me any table. So you can see I do not have any tables here. So when I click on tables, it's expected to show me some table. So instead, it's showing me like system table, which is not what I am looking for. So because I do not have any table, when you do have a table, it will populate here. The other one is view. Well, it's also showing system view because I do not have any view. And these are the system view. You do not have business with this for now. So here we are. This is the interface, and this is where you'll be working. So in SQL, using SSMS, there are two ways you can actually create anything you want to create. And this is mostly the same thing with any application out there. Anything you want to create, you can create it using the UI, the user interface, or you can use SQL query to write it. If I want to create a database, I can simply open my new query and then write a code, create database, and it will create. If I don't want to write, I don't know how to write the query, I can just come to database here, right click, and new database. I will just put in the name of the database and say, okay, and my database is created. So I'll still go through this again. So here we have right. So are we open a query? This is a new query. For any SQL code you want to write, you have to open a new query. Most times you have to open a new query. You can write as many SQL code as possible. Yeah, SQL query as possible. If you want to keep your work neat, most times you open new query. You can open as many queries as you want. And notice that these queries are not named. If I want to name them, all I need to do is to save them. When I save it, the name I saved it with is what it would take. So if I say If I say this, select all databases, and I want to save it, I can just right click and save SQL to, save SQL query to. All I need to do is to just click on it, and if I name it all databases, it's important you name your work descriptively. So if I name it that way, I'll come here. I want to save it where I can delete it. So right now, it's saved as all databases. You can see that all database.sql. That's what I say. That's the new name. It's no longer new query. All right. So, but I don't want it. I will delete it from my desktop. All right. My system is being slow unnecessarily. So that's how to create it. This thing that I did, right click and save, I can actually do it here. This is the code. I can just come here. You can see the save all databases, or I can come here and click and come here. Whatever I type in here, I want to save the query. I'll just come here and save the query. So when you come here, this place is where you will have the name of the database you are working on. And if you want to change it, you can click on this arrow and choose another database from all the databases. I can click on new text, and that becomes the database I am working on. I can choose on model, that becomes the database. So what is the implication? If you're querying a table that is outside, that is not in the selected database, that's your query will throw error because it cannot find it in the selected database. So that's why you need to select. And there's also another way to select. So if I want to, even if this is on and I want to select a database, while this is on, I want to select a database that is not here. Perhaps I want to select the new text. All I need to do is use new text. Then I will come here, go. So what happens here is this will override this. You know how this is GUI, this is the code. So this will be given preference, priority over this. Whatever that is here will be overwritten by the code you've written here. Now, everything I'm going to be working with you, in this course, in the course of learning query, learning any programming language, you do not memorize code. So I don't memorize code. It is not your job to memorize any code. So that also means if you find yourself in an interview and you need to write query, if that interview does not allow you to go online and look for the syntax, then they are not being realistic. That job may not be for you. I can assure you, because in a real job, you are allowed to go online and make research. So during your interview, you can actually, because the internet, the system you're going to be given can browse, can actually go get syntax and write your code. But beyond syntax, you should know what the syntax does. You should know what the code does. If you don't know what the code does, then that is a stolen one, and it's not allowed. You're allowed to go and find syntax because you cannot memorize all the syntaxes in the world. However, you're not allowed to steal people's code. So if you're not able to explain that code, then that is not for you. That code is not yours, so you stole it. If you're able to explain the result you have, then that means you have a sound knowledge of it. So remember, we go out there to find solution to our problems, but we should be able to explain that solution. If we're not able to explain it, it means we stole that solution. We did not own it. All right, so now let's get straight to work. Here we are, database. Closing this. So here we are. I am on this new and this interface. I want to create a database. I want to create a database. I'm going to create two databases so that you see how I did it. First, I will come here. Let me expand this. I'll come here, right click, and create new database. So I will name it something. Primed. I'll call it prime food. So all I just need to do is to say, okay. I put only the name, then I will come here and say, okay, that's all I just need to do. And my database is created. That's it. I have a new database. You can see it's prime food here. If you can't find it, you can just go to the database here, right click and come and do refresh. It will show here, prime food. I have a new database. That's how simple it is. Say I want to create a new database without using user GUI. It's as simple as saying create database. Prime food 1. And I will close it. So it's a good practice to always close your query. And to close it, all you need to do is to put semicolon, and that has closed. So if I want to create two databases, I can also create another one. Create database. I can say, can you suggest name for us? Fatima, can you suggest a database name for us?
Prime food 2.
I need something unique, not prime food again.
Tech servers. Tech servers.
Nice. Launch. See this launch.
Fatima, please unmute and tell me, please.
Tech servers project.
Tech servers project. All right, so I will close it. Now I can run it one at a time by highlighting it like this and execute. All I just need to do is to highlight this and execute. If I want to run it one at a time, I can run the both of them and execute. Now watch what happens. If I take away this, I don't want to run it first. If I take away this and try to run, it will throw error because I did not close this. So what it's looking at, it's expected that since I didn't close this, it's expected that this next code, this next query is part of this first one, but it is not. So I will execute this. Oh, okay. Sorry, I closed this here. All right, so it has already created it for us. I will refresh. So it has created this databases for us, Prime Food 1 and Tech Servers. So I could just highlight only this one and run it, or I could highlight only this one and run it. Any of them will work. And that's how easy it is to create a database. Create database, you name your database, that's it. And the same way, create table, you name your table, and that is it. And I would want you to memorize this. That is why I'm going to take you to, I'm going to strongly recommend, and this is what we're going to be doing. This is for you not to, try to memorize anything. So I will recommend that you come to the official documentation of T-SQL. This is the official documentation. You can come here, or you can use W3 School. W3 School, you can browse it, and you can just W3 Schools SQL, browse it so that it opens directly SQL for you. So you can use this. So all the things you need to learn, you can see them by the side here. Everything you need to learn is by the side here. But if you want to make it specific to T-SQL, then you come to Microsoft's T-SQL documentation and use here. And we will be using both of them in doing our work here. I will not recommend for any reason for you to memorize anything. This is just to ease the tension of how do I remember all these syntaxes. This is easier to use. W3 School is easier to use. It is popular. So you can see all the different programming languages that are here. So you just choose the one you're coming for, W3 SQL, you use it, and it is it's good at what, they're good at what they do. So that is it for now with documentation. So we have been able to create databases. Well, I just showed you 2 ways to create databases. Yes, IBS, ask your question, please.
Can you please drop the link for that SQL, the one you just showed us now?
All right, so
Thank you.
it is on the chart. You can check it out. You can bookmark it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me get the chart here. You can bookmark it because sometimes it could be difficult to find. All right, so another thing I will also tell you is in the course of learning to write code, you are going to definitely meet a lot of error. Just look at it that Google is your friend. Google can be much more of a trusted friend, far more trusted friend than any of the tutors here, than I can even be. Google can be far more reliable than I can even be. So trust more on Google to give you multiple answers to that little problem than trusting on me, because I may not even be available to answer you at the time you want me to answer you. So make Google your friend. And all I just need is, I want to create a database. First of all, you will know what you want to do. I want to SQL or create a database with SQL. So I can just come here, depends on which particular link gives you your answer. I don't bother myself going for the sponsored one because these are adverts, you can see. And I'll go any level from non-sponsored code links. I'll come here, which is still the W3 School. Open it and look at it. Create database. And that's it. I'll put the database name. That's how simple it is. There is no 2 ways about it. And let's continue. So I have created database and I don't like this database. I want to delete this database. This is what we call drop. And now you can see it by the side here. Drop database. To delete, we call it drop. And it's as simple as saying drop database, you say the database name. All I need to do is to copy this. Copy this, and then I will come here. I don't like the name, the second name I gave, this database name. I'll just copy this database name, replace it. Drop database. I will close it, always close yours. When I run it, I will highlight it and run it. Execute. And what happens is saying, it's saying command completed successfully. And that database, the database seems like it is still there. But if I go to database, right click here and refresh, it's no longer there, you can see. And you can also try it on your own. Yes, Fatima, please go ahead.
So yesterday you said SQL Server is case sensitive, right? So that means the fact that you have the drop database written in uppercase and the create database in lowercase does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
All right, thank you.
So it's just like we said, today is hands-on. Let's try it. So like we say, it doesn't matter. All I just need to do is drop. See how I'm doing it? Data. Want to drop tech server, or I'll drop just prime food, the first prime food. All right, so I'm going ahead to drop this. See how I typed it. But now, first of all, you can see that it's actually, irrespective of the way I typed it, it's actually highlighted in blue. What does it mean? It means these are keywords. Blue means these are keywords in SQL. Use them. You cannot drop database name, database. I can't use them in the name of anything or the name of a person. I cannot use them. I have to use a name that is not a so a name that is not a reserved name. These are reserved name by SQL. So that's why they are green. They are blue. So whenever you type it in, it's blue, know that it's a reserved name. So you have to just change it or put it in a curly bracket, in a bracket. All right, so I will just highlight this and execute. So it still ran successfully. And that means we have deleted 2 databases. You can see we only have the text server and the new text. Make sense? And this is just one way to delete. We can also say, I don't like this new text. So right click and go delete it. Yes, I want to delete it. I don't like it. Delete it. And it will go and delete it. As simple as that. But what if I want to delete? So let me create this again. All right. Oh, all right. Sorry, it's saying that I am creating what is already there. So text server, it's already there. Let's see if this other one created. Refresh. Yes, prime food one created. So you cannot use a name twice to create a database. All right, so let's say I am using a database and Fatima is using the same database. We are on the same server. Remember the keyword, the same server means because we are using the same database means we actually have access to the database. So let me open a new. Can I open here? New. Let's see. And so I'll just go ahead and open SSMS. This is a heavy file. I just try and see if my system can carry it. The intention is I want to be working on a database. All right, so this is a new one. Let me that side. So, all right, so you can see here, I'll open a new thing, a new query. This, you can drag it as much as you want. So I'm going to drag it to the end so I can see properly. All right, so you can see the both databases. They are all there. It's just the same account. It's opening. Sorry about this. Just so many things working on my system at the time. I will shut them down. So while it is opening, I will say use prime food. Oh, all right. So I'll say this, and what I want to do is, so you can see the two databases are here. You can also see this one here. So this is what we're going to do. I want to drop this one, which is what I am using here. So let's see. Oh, all right. It's not showing that I'm using it. It's not showing that I'm using it. You can see here, it didn't select it. I will recreate this. Refresh. Refresh. All right, so I'll run this. So, all right, so why is it not giving me why is it telling me it's the wrong syntax again? So I'm going to go online and ask. Sure, you're seeing how I am debugging my problem. So that when you see me, when you say it, all right, so it's saying use database, which is correct. I was actually correct. All right, so I'll try and close this. Incorrect syntax, go. All right, so that worked. I just remove the I just remove the semicolon. I think it will be from the main semicolon will be from the last one. Go. All right, so let's see if it will delete here, because it's showing that I'm using it here. And as I run it here, you can see it's automatically came up here as a selected one. Let's see if it will drop. All right, so it's running, executes, it's still showing red, it's running. So what is happening here? It's still showing executing. Why? Because I am using it. That means you cannot delete a database. Now it's done. Cannot drop database, prime food, because it is currently in use. So I am using it here. Therefore, you cannot drop it. So to be able to drop it, I need to force single user. So I need to write a code that will make me do only user, hence I can delete it. But the truth about it is this is not what you go to practice in your company. Don't go and delete database. Don't go and, in fact, you should completely avoid dropping the database. I'm teaching you for knowledge sake. Never you go and delete anything. You're not the DBA. Don't go and delete anything, not a row, not a table, not a database. Don't delete anything. It is a strong warning. Don't delete anything, please. Don't come back and say, Kingsley, you taught us how to do it. I went to practice it in my company. You will be in trouble. You're not gonna, sacking is not, sack is just the easiest.
Arrest.
I don't even know the word to use. So please don't delete. All right, so I've deleted one of my GUI instances so that I will have enough space to work. All right, so let's continue. All right, so I've been able to drop. Okay, now I can go ahead and drop. I've told you how to drop. I can go ahead and drop because I have closed that. So you see, successfully dropped. So you can see you've learned how to create database, drop database, and why you cannot drop a database that is already in existence. All right, so I'll still go back here and all right, so this is not your job, backup SQL. This is not your job, but you could also, it's also as simple as the syntax. It's also as simple as others. So you back up your database name, you put the database name, to this, you put the file paths where it's going to back it up for you. It's as simple as that, but that's not what we're doing. So the next is create table. So when you find yourself, like I said, everything that you create with code, you can also create with GUI. So now let us create table. Here we are. Let's use the prime text server. So let's use the text server. I want to create table. To create table, I need to click here, right click, and Fatima, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. So I noticed that you wrote drop database primed food, but you've not even created primed food to start with. Or does it mean it's regardless of the
I had already created it before dropping it. That was the first database I created.
Okay, the one that you created in the
Actually created it before. That was the first one before I created Prime Food 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So to create a table, right click here. So this is a database table. All right, so this is my database, and then I need to expand it, come to table, right click, new table. So I want to create a table. Let's use the one we did yesterday. So first of all, to ask you for table name. Sorry, the column name. So what is the column name we want to do? We want to give student ID. Student ID. So yesterday I also taught us about data type. So you want student ID, the data type, what will it be? Is it number? Is it text? Is it number? Is it date? Is it variable character? You have to choose what it is. So here we have, if you click on it, you'll be able to choose this drop down. There are several of them. But because it's number, I want it to be integer. So I'll go and choose integer. Int. Oh yeah, this is int. All right, so allow null means if you click this, it means whenever you want to add data into this table, into this column, you may choose to keep it null, like not to add anything. You may choose to keep it empty. And when you keep it empty, it will just show null. So this is student ID. We don't want it to be null because it's going to be like a primary key. It's a main identifier of the student. So we uncheck this. Allow null, no. So the next one is, so because we want it to be a primary key, you come by the side of this student ID, right click, and set it as primary key. Now you can see the key symbol there. You can see the key symbol there. Let's see if I'll be able to expand this. Control plus. No, it's not expanding. All right. Or zoom plus. No. Shift plus. All right, so I have been able to add student ID. I want to add purchase. Sorry. Courses. And courses will be, what do we think courses will be? Text or number, dates, variable character? What do we think it will be? Lesson.
Sorry, hello. So what's the question, please? Sorry.
I'm asking what do you think it will be, the text, the dates, the courses you're choosing. What data type do you think it will be? All right, so should it be data type means should it be like a text format,
What is that?
a date, a number format? How do you think it should be? Of the course, that's what I'm asking.
I didn't get what I didn't.
So you know when you visit a website,
Yeah.
you want to do some transaction, you can put different, they can ask you for your name, could ask you for your card number, some
Yeah.
different information they will need from you. Those information they use from you are, behind it is what we call data type. So this data type means if it is words they're asking from you, if it's so much word they're asking from you, it's called text.
Yeah.
If it is just a combination of words and anything, it's called variable character. If it is number without decimal, it's called integers. Date is called date. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So what do you think courses will be? What kind of integer, what kind of data type do you think courses will be?
Is it? Sorry, I didn't get it.
All right, so
I don't.
if you want to put the name of the course you're studying, will it be in number? Will it be in text? Will it be a date you're going to put?
No, it's a test.
Exactly. That's what I'm asking. That's what we call data type.
Okay, I didn't. Sorry.
Good. So can you please pay more attention here? You see how I caught you? You are not paying attention.
I
All
have
right.
someone distracting me. Move. Okay, Chukwu.
You see? Can you catch put stop distracting? So I will use variable character because we can actually be like data analyst 1 or something like that. So I'll use variable character. I would say when you use variable character, you choose the maximum number of words that can be there. It's just for you to control your space. It's just for you to control your what is it called? The space in memory. Just for you to control the space in memory that you're consuming. So I will just put 20 or 25. Hopefully we don't have any cost that is longer than that. Will it be empty? No, you have to provide your costs when you're registering. Okay. So, but this is also not a primary key. In a table, there can only be one primary key. You already have that. And this primary key uniquely identifies a student. So that's the cost. We can say the amount or the costs, and say the costs. What kind of a data type would this be, Chidi? What kind of data type would cost be, Chidi?
It will be integers.
All right, so integer is closely correct. Remember when you are paying, there were some decimals in when you are paying 599.99. All right, so there are two things you can say money, you can also say float or decimal. So integer means there is no decimal point in it. So let's use, all right, so I will use decimal. Or let's use float here to make it easier. So of course we don't want a situation. Chidi, does it make sense? Float.
Yes, yes.
All right. So you must supply it. You must supply it. So we keep it float. We untick this. So the next one could be like okay, so I will put age. HID. I'll put HID and I'll make it integer. And you begin to imagine what is HID. Can't you just put age there? Then so I'll put HID, make it integer. I'll just keep it open. So meaning that means you can actually choose not to supply your age. All right, so at this point, I can create my table. So I'll right click here. To save table, right click to save table, and then I'll give it to ask for the table name. I will call it students registration. And here we go. We already have a table. That's how simple it is to create a table. So I will just refresh. I will refresh this table and then expand it. So you can see that we have a table called student. Forget about this DBO. DBO is called what we call schema, database object schema. So you forget about this is the name, student registration. And we have been able to do this. So let's create another table, but this time around, I want to create a table with syntax, with code this time around. So I'll go back to this is a design interface. Let me open the other side, which is a code, which is a query interface. This is a design, this is the code. You can choose any one. So now I will go back here. I don't want to memorize anything. So I'll create a table from here. So I'll come here, create the table. This is the syntax for creating table. This is it. So if you want to go deeper here, you can see the example given to you. So the beauty of getting syntax online is you can actually go, you can see the examples given to you. That's the beauty of documentation. You don't need to memorize anything. Example can be given to you so that you copy and edit that example to suit what you want. If that makes sense. So what I want to do now is I don't want to copy the other one. I want to use this example given to me. I'll bring it, copy it, I'll come here, paste it. Remember that this is all these ones are closed. So I'll be able to put something on there. All right, so these tables are showing I'm red because they don't exist. I've already deleted them. So I will just remove this. Now I want to create another table called gender. I'll call it gender. I'll make it small letter. Can be anything, remember? So I will say gender ID. Or I could also call it ID. So understand something. If I call it ID here, and then on the other table, it is showing age ID. Oh, sorry about this. This is not this is not age, this is gender ID. Sorry. Gender ID, sorry. So the fact that it is gender ID here, and I choose to put it only ID under the gender name, gender table, does not really matter. It's still the same thing as long as they are the same data type. But not to confuse you, I will still make it gender ID. So the data type is integer. The data type is integer, and I want it to be primary key. Now I can see I want it to be primary key here. But here, this one already has a primary key. The gender ID is a primary key. Then all I need to put is just the gender name, then this variable character. And I just like it like this. This is all I want for the table. All right, so I could go ahead to say not null. The same thing here, not null. Oh, that's correct. Because I don't want it to be null. So I'll go, I like this. Watch what happens. I will create this. It has created, successfully created. Let's look for the table. I will refresh. This is table. Where's the table we're working on? This is table. So I will refresh. But it's not here. What happened? It's not here. It's supposed to be under this database text server, but it's not here. Can someone tell me what really happened?
Did you highlight it?
I didn't highlight it. Not really. Right, I'm getting cold here. I need to move my property. I need another idea. Guys, talk to me. No. Hello, are you here? Why is she not responding? In this all-important class, what is happening? Why is she not responding? Oh, she's not here. All right, I think she's not here. Joshua, do you know why we could not find the database there? What's happening? Why is nobody responding to me? I'll ask another person. Fatima, do you know why? Do you have any idea?
I was just praying that it should not come. No idea.
Praying that type of prayer. That's not a good prayer. All right, so what happened here is I did not select the database I wanted. So I did not select, the database I wanted it to be in. The database selected here, you can see here, it's masters. And that is where this thing created. So let's go and open masters. Master is a system database. Here we go. Tables. So you can see it's created here. But if I want it to be created, if I want it to be created on the database I want, where's my database? If I want it to be created on text server, all I just need to say is use text servers. It's opening it, bringing it out for me to choose. Then I'll close it. So I could, first of all, I could highlight everything and run it. It will create on text server. Or I could run this one first. When I run it first, it will select text servers. Can you see selected? Then I can then come here and run it. And if I refresh table, you will see that it's created already there. Where is it? It's expanding. It's taking time. I don't know why these things are taking time today. Open. Sorry. Who's this? System. All right, so this expand quickly. All right, so you can see gender it's created. All right, so let's continue. Now we have two tables. We have two tables. So I have been able to show you how to create table using code. I've been able to show you how to create tables using using the user interface. And that's how simple it gets. There's no big deal about it. All right, so now let's try and add values to our table. To add values to our table, let me start with this illustration. I will start here. All right, so let me start here. To add table, I would say edit the top 200. I will use the user interface, the GUI. I will say right click here, edit top 200. It will open the interface for me, so you can see the ID, agenda ID. I will give it 1 for male, 2 for female. Sorry, I'm not doing another one. All right, so I have done this. I'll say what's happening. All right, so I'll right click and send it saved on its own. All right, so I'm going to refresh this. This is the one we did. I will refresh it. Now let me run it. Select the first 100. All right, so you can see we have it. You have data in the table now. All these things I am using the GUI to run it. And I will explain what this thing is in subsequent classes. So what really happened here is I right-clicked here to add data using GUI. I said edit top 200, and it brought me to this space where it brought me to where is this? This one, yeah, where I had to add. If I add another one here, I could just say 3 unspecified or others, wherever the person wants to be. All right, so if I go here and rerun this code again, watch what happens here. See, we have 3 genders. All right, so let's move on. Did we make this the primary key? Let's see if we made it the primary key. The gender ID. Let's see if we made it the primary key. So I will come and I will expand this gender ID, and expand. When you expand, it brings you so many things here, but it's column I'm interested in. So you can see I made it the primary key. You can see the key showing the key. It's a PK means primary key, and it's an integer to know the data type. And it says not null, means you must put something there. It cannot be null. And the other one is just a normal table, but must have something in it. All right. Do we have any question at this point? If I also want, you can ask your question. Let me see. Yeah, you can always ask your question while we continue. So let's say I want to add value to the next table. So the next table has, let's open it. I'm going to use code to add value to the next table. So the next table has how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 it has four columns. So I want to add value to the columns. I want to add value to the columns. So this is create table. I want to insert. To add value to the table, we'll call it insert. So I don't seem to find it here. So I'm going to look for it.
It's up there. SQL insert.
Where is it?
To select. Just there at the top. You don't scroll. Oh. Just stop scrolling. Stop scrolling. The top. Look at it. Just move your cursor up again. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I'm looking for insert only. So what happens? This insert will insert rows into your table that you have already created. And this is the syntax. So insert into table 1. Select all from, okay, this is when you want to select from another table and then insert in a table. But we just want to insert only. Right, so I'll use this. I'll use that one and then run it like this. We want to insert to that table. So what is the table name here? The table name is Tech Server. That's the table name. Here are the columns. So I'm going to type them out. Student ID. So I'm going to put it in a bracket because it has space. Student ID. Is courses. Is cost. And then the other one is gender. All right. So the next thing I need to do is value. Value, I'll put, so value is what I want to put in there. So on the student ID, I will put like 1. On the courses is the text. So I need to put it in. Please take note of this thing. This is how it works. So because it's a text, I need to put it in a quote. So courses, I'll say data analyst. The next one is cost. I'll say 599.99 because it's a number. The next is what's that? Gender ID. So I'll put 1. All right, so we are having error. And what is the problem? Invalid object name, tech server. Is it true? All right, so I'll bring it back here. This here. It's still telling us invalid object name, text server. And where is it coming from? Is it coming from, because our object name is not invalid. I'm trying not to put it like in a quotes here, but because it doesn't matter. So we have an issue here and we need to solve. So what you're seeing here right now is whenever it highlights in red, that's an error. So now let's try to solve it. This is how I do my work. So that when you start seeing problem, you don't run away, you face it. I will go online and say, I want how to add values into a table with SQL. All right, so you can see here, free code camp said, insert into the table name. So we are actually on course. These are the column names. And then these are the values. We are actually on course. But why is it highlighting that? We don't really know. So we come in here and say, okay, why are you highlighting this? DBO dots. I'll explain to you what DBO means later and why I put it there. All right, so I will close this. And why do we also have this? Incorrect syntax near the quotes. That's supposed to be a comma. And here is our syntax. You can see all the comma that are there. And guys, these things will happen and can actually get you frustrated. I'll make you feel like you don't know anything. Meanwhile, you do. So I'm going to try and execute it and see what it will tell us. So I've highlighted it and I am on this database. So I will execute it. Level 1, message 102. Level 15, state 1, incorrect syntax value. All right, so it's telling us the word value is not correct. So let's see. It's telling us here it's called values, not value. Now we are wrong there. And here we go. We have so many errors, but let's still run it. Let's see what it will tell us again. Invalid name, data analyst. All right, so it's telling us that this name is not correct. So let's use just one quote, single quotes. All right, so it seemed to have identified it as test. You can see the test has changed to red. All right, we still have another name, invalid object name, text solver. So here, this is where the main problem is, invalid object name, text solver. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. insert into, this is correct.
I think there's no R in that text solver. Solver.
Well, there is no R in our name. That's the most important part. Yes, so there's no R in our
Okay,
own.
there's no.
There's no R. So expect it to respond. Expect it to respond, seriously. All right, so why is it not responding? See how we debug problem.
Why is the data analyst in red?
So that's because it's a text. That's because
It's
it's a
a string. So
Yes.
string will be highlighted in.
It should always be highlighted. It should always be in red. That's correct. So what is the problem here? Let us refresh here because what our syntax seems to be in order. Our syntax seems to be in order. This is the table. So we seem to be in order. We should go here. Yes, we chose the right one. Okay, so I will try and say use text servers. Use text servers. We still have an error. So not sure what this error is. Not sure why this error is there, what it is. Insert days, table name, columns, values, 100% correct. So why is it? And guys, this is what you're going to keep getting because it's code for you. So this could be my system not really responding to the fact that I've actually corrected every error, my system not being able to respond. In fact, that's mostly what it is. Because I can't
So
really,
the values is that one supposed to be closer to it. I mean, you're where your mouse is pointing.
thing like this.
Then you remove the bracket.
No, you can't remove the bracket like this.
Yeah.
You remove it like this? No. So you need to put the bracket. The reason is in case you want to put more values, let me bring it down to this place. You can actually add more values here. This and say the second person is two a software tester. Pay the same amount. Maybe this person is a female. All right. So this is how, so that's the essence of this being in brackets here. So that it will capture the next value you want to add. So what we don't know is why our system is not capturing what it should capture. But we will not relent. We need to move on. Need to move on. So another thing I can do is, yeah, I did what I'm supposed to do. All these spellings are correct. All right, so let's continue, guys. I will add it using the GUI. As soon as it opens, I'll add it using the GUI. Hopefully our code will not be falling in our hands anyhow, because that's what we are here for. Open, I'm waiting. So my system is really slow today. Currently, that is the main problem with this code not recognizing code. This the server not recognizing my code. All right, okay, it's opened. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use GUI to add this to, like we did the other time, right click on it and say top 200, then it will open a design interface. So the student ID, I said 1, the course, I said data analyst, course is 599.99, gender, I'll put 1, edit 2, courses, software tester, 599.99, and then I will put ID 2. Okay, so I'll put another one. I'll put another one like 3 software testers. It's like 2 again. All right, so here we are. So when you refresh and then run, so we have this data here. All right, so we have been able to add data. We've been able to add data to rows to the 2 tables we have created. I will give us 10 minutes to walk around and then return at 10 o'clock so that we will start making good use of this, what we have created. 10 minutes. At exactly 10 o'clock, we will continue, guys. Thank you.
Hello, I can't hear anything. Hello. Hello.
In 10 minutes meet, 10, we are on 10 minutes break. Is that Fatima?
Okay, yes, yes. All right. Thank you.
All right. All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's do this. Don't worry. This is the word. This is our word now. When you're doing something, you will definitely meet challenges. And SQL is a programming language, and you will definitely find them. So let's add more data here. Software tester and number 4. I'll give it the gender, and this I'll give it number 5. I'll leave the gender like that. All right. So why are we having this error? Notice that this, let's go back to the syntax. Wait, is everyone here with me anyway?
Yes.
All right, so please pay attention so that we'll debug together. So notice that the syntax said insert into table name. Notice table name, then columns, and then the values. But can you see what I've been using all this while? Database name. Or using the database name instead of table name. All right, so guys, while we are doing as we do these things, we also need to be, you, the student, the learners, we are all, anyway, the students, that's the right way, need to also be very observant to be sure that I'm doing the right thing. Because these things happen and can happen to the best of developers. Error is nobody's mate, trust me. All right, so all I need to do is delete this because it's table they asked me. So the table name is student registration. All right, so this is the table name. All right, so why it is still showing error, that is its problem. I'll just remove this. All right, so we no longer have any error, you can see. No longer have any error. So if I run it, I've changed this to 4 and this to 5. It will add a new, row to it. So you can see completed successfully. Now, this is how to add rows. It's how to add programmatically, and the other way is how you add using the user interface. And that's how simple it is. If I run my code again, where is my code? Yeah. If I execute this again, you can see I have more data here. And that's how simple it is, guys. This is how simple it is. Okay, so yesterday we talked about data integrity. Let us see data integrity in action now. So the one that got most of us confused was referential integrity. So you can see how I have gender. All right, so let me run the two of them here. I'll just remove. Let me run it the way I will teach you. I will select all from, what's the name of that table? Students. Close it. Again, I will select all from gender table. Yes. I'll close it. So I'll run the both of them. The beauty of this, unlike SQL Server, MySQL, is that it will show me the both tables. Yeah. But MySQL will just show one, close it, show the next one. So now, here we are. This table, column, is looking up. Remember yesterday I told you something about dimensions and the facts table. So this is where all the normal transaction, whether repeated or non-repeated, goes. And this is called the facts table. terminologies we use it is what we use in what we call OLAP, or online analytical process, which we are going to look into, but that's for data analysts anyway. So whereas this table it is looking up to, it's called the dimension. Now notice that I said look up. That means we can also call it the lookup table. So another name for dimension table, up table. All right, so this column is looking up to this column in this table. So in referential integrity says you cannot delete column. By default, you cannot delete this column. Say, okay, we'll delete this row, we'll delete all the male. We don't have male in this gender table. You cannot delete it because it is looking up, it is being looked up by another column in another table, and these columns are this. And these are the columns it's being looked up to. They are looking up to it. These rows are looking up to it. So for it to, if you want to query this, for you to know who the gender of this data analyst, it will need to go to the next table and pull it out for you using this ID columns. And now how will you be able to do it? Because these two tables are not communicating. Right now, I can delete it. Let me show you. Because these two tables are not communicating, I can delete this particular table. I can delete this particular row. How do I delete it? I want to delete a row. Please don't try this at work. I'll go back to the source of code, to the code source. I want to delete a row. Delete. To drop I don't like stress. Let me use my delete all the row from gender where gender name equal to male. I'll close it. Incorrect syntax. This row this is the syntax. Told you I don't believe in memorizing them. It's just there. Why should I? So there's no, you can see there's no, the white card. You call that white card. So I need to remove it. That's what it's telling me. Remove it, and then your code is okay. So it will come here and delete this row. So it runs successfully. Now let me select this. Let me select them again, everything. So you can see we don't have mail again. But what happens to all the gender ID 1 here? Which means we won't find a way to identify them. So we don't even know their gender. We can just call them whatever we want to call them, which is not nice. But referential integrity says you need to find a way to communicate, to allow this data communicate with this one, so that this table communicate with this table, so that you can't just delete rows from here when it's actually being referenced on the main table. So now let me go back and add. I want to add this. Okay, so the table we're looking at now is gender. And gender ID is 1. Gender ID and what is it called? Is it name or gender name? If you can remind me, guys. Gender name. So you see, I can't just use name because it's a reserved keyword. Gender name. So these are the only two. So I want to just put in. So gender name is male. Because it's a text, so I have to put it male. The ID is 1. Remember, that's what we gave it. So I will run this. There is no error. So it is there now. So again, it's there. So you can see it's there. So what really happened? How do we get this to communicate with this? It means we need to go back to table. This is a table. We need to go back to the table design again. So you can see where I went, table, and I clicked table, design. Okay. So on this, we set this to primary key. All right, so this is not where we're supposed to come to. We're supposed to go to the other table, design. So you can see on this one, so delete some of these things. They are. Here we have gender is a primary key. Here, gender ID is a primary key in gender table. But here, bring this closer here. But here we don't have, we still have gender ID in another table. So this gender ID, I will use this. All right, so this is the one I'm supposed to use. So it is a primary key here because it is home. We don't know what it is here. We don't know what it is here. So, but we want to give it a title. We want to give gender ID a title. We come here so that it will be able to reference this, communicate with this table here. Gender ID here, gender ID here. We want to use these same IDs that are common in these two tables to communicate, to get the both tables to start talking to each other, to start seeing each other. So all I need to do is to come by the side here, right click. And when I right click, I'm not going to set it as primary key here because it already has primary key set here as student ID. I want to go to relationships here, click on it. So I will come, there is no relationship with this table. This table does not have any relationship with any table at all. So I will go and add. So when I go and add, I want to add it on tables and columns. So I want to add it on tables and columns. So when I click on this, I will come to these 3 ellipses, click on it, it brings me here. What do I want to do? I want in this table where I am, I want this gender ID to be a foreign key. I want it to be a foreign key. So the primary key will come from the gender table. So I will click gender table, foreign key, a primary key. Hold on. So gender ID is a foreign key here. All right, so the primary key is coming from the student's primary key table is gender, but the foreign key table is student ID. So at this, not student ID, gender. So I'll go back again. I'll go back here, I'll close this. I want to make this and able to communicate. So I'll come here, right click here. Instead of set primary key, I'll come to relationships. On this place, I want to add relationship. Looks like it has even added it for us. So I will want to delete this one that I have done. So I want to add relationship. I click on add, and on tables and columns specification, I will come here, go to this ellipsis, and then on this place, the primary key table will be from the gender, whereas the foreign key table is where we're already in, so it doesn't allow you to select any. So, but which column on the foreign key? The column is gender ID. And then both sides of the relationship must have the same name of column. All right, so that's true. Oh, sorry, I did not select here. And gender ID. So you can see from the gender table, we have gender ID, which is the primary key here. From the student registration, this gender ID is a foreign key. Now let me explain the concept of foreign and the primary. A Nigerian who came to the UK, being a Nigerian, you are a citizen of Nigeria by default, being born there. The parents are from there, you are a citizen. It's like your primary domain. The moment you move, you'll be treated as a citizen in Nigeria. Primary, whatever, any decision that is being made, you are the reason why they're making the decision. The moment you move from Nigeria to the UK, you become a foreigner, or any other country, you become a foreigner. So in that place, they are not treating you as a citizen, at least at that moment. You will be treated as a foreigner. But in Nigeria, where your data is still showing that you are a citizen, which is like the primary key. But when a primary key when a primary key is found in another table that is not its main table, it becomes a foreign key. When it's found in another table, it becomes a foreign key. A primary key in each table, in each original table, is the main column there, and it's called the primary key. When it finds itself, as long as it has been made the primary key in a table, when it finds itself in another table, it becomes a foreign key. You could choose not to make it a foreign key, but you cannot make it a primary key in that other table. So that's what we did here. This place is the gender. Gender is the main table. So in that place, if you have any form of ID that is called gender ID, it has to be the primary key, primary identifier. But if you find it in another place where you want to also communicate with that table, since you want to use gender to communicate with that table, that gender will no longer be a primary key in that other table. It will be a foreign key in that table. And that's what we just did here. It will be confusing, but I am happy to explain it again if you want. So here we close it, and here we go. We have been able to establish a relationship between these tables. Now let's go and do that thing we did again. We want to delete. Let's go and delete again. Where is it? All right, so I'll just do it from here. Delete. Where do I want to delete from? I'll go to the lookup table. I want to delete from gender. Where is it? Gender name. All right, so where gender ID, usually use the ID to reference them. Where gender ID is equal to 1. Or let me just continue with what I'm using. Where gender name, so I don't confuse you, is equal to male. Right, so let's do this. It has affected it. Let's see. It shouldn't affect it. Perhaps I did not refresh. Select all from gender. Oh no, then means the relationship we created did not work. Check it again, please. I will add this. Let's check it again. Okay, yeah, it didn't. I did not save it. Let me see. Refresh. All right. All right, now, so we have it here. So you can see the primary key here. I can see the gender ID is a foreign key here. Gender ID is foreign key. Student ID is still existing at its primary key. So let's try and go and delete something. Delete this mail. Let's see if it will work now. Now, can you see? The delete statement conflicted with the referential constraints, foreign key, student registration, gender. The conflict occurred in database, tech server projects, table, student registration column, gender ID. So what does this mean? We have successfully implemented the referential integrity of both tables. We have preserved it. You can't just go there and delete a column, a row from another table. When that row is looking up, is referencing another series, several rows in other table. Now let us query this again. Select all from what's the name of that table? The students. Good. So I'll close it. It stands here now. I can't delete mail. I can't delete anything here, but I can come and delete here. So I think we will be able to delete order. Let's see. I can't delete male or female from this table because it has data here. It has data here. You can see them. ID1 here. You can see ID1, ID1. ID2 here. You can see ID2 here. Let's try to delete others. Since it does not have any data, let's see what happened. See, successfully deleted. Any data here that it references, it's just successfully deleted. And that is referential integrity, guys, in a nutshell. Any question at this point? Question, guys. I can see that our number has reduced because we are writing code. Where are they? Blessing, do you understand what we just did? Chidi, do you understand?
A little bit. I think with practice, if I practice it more, then I'll be able to understand it more. But yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Hello, are you with me? Do you understand it? Hello is not with me, and this is call to her. Josh, are you with us? Fatima, talk to me. Josh and Fatima.
Not really, but I think when one starts trying it out, I'll understand it better.
Will make more sense because
Yeah,
that's what you're going to be doing tomorrow, the data guys. That's what you're going to be doing tomorrow. You will be practicing all of them. You will be creating your database table and enforcing this referential integrity. And Fatima, yes, Vincent, are we guys on the same page? Talk to me so that if there's anything I need to explain, I'll go ahead and explain it.
Actually, there's no need to explain for now, but I'm very sure by the time I go over it, the video, I'll be able to meet or fill the gap that I'm having.
Right. So it's not something you want to grasp everything at the same time. We have said a lot here. Now, I want us to go. So I have explained the primary key. I have explained the foreign key. I want us to go ahead. I want us to go and create what we call entity relationship diagram with the database we have. So we are actually creating database, or I am going to just create. I will create three tables and link them up, and then you're going to use the app and create your own database. So first, let me open this. This thing, you can do it with several applications, but I'm going to be using Lucid Charts. Create entity relationship diagram. It's something you should understand and know how to create. This is Lucid Chart, lucidchart.com, LUCID charts.com. So I'll sign up a free account. Sign up a free account quickly with so you can see free account here. So I'm going to sign up. My name is Kingsley. My work email is Kingsley at the Kings. So I have several work emails. I'll just give it. I have my other account. Use this to practice with everyone. All right, so this is my son. All right, so creating it. Crossroad. Crosswalk here, and verified. Said I have not touched all of them. I think that's all. Opening. So this is the interface of Lucid Charts. I want to start a project. I want to name it. Okay, so my role is a data analytics, individual, contributor. I will just say I am an intermediate user. I don't want to invite anyone, but we're going to invite everyone to a work one, the one we're going to create for you to start using tomorrow. So I don't want to invite anyone. What I want to do is database model. That's what I want to do, model databases. You can do things like flowcharts, build dashboard, brainstorming, but this is what I want to do. Organization chart, but this is what I want to do. I will create it. So now it's producing some template for me. Not necessarily interested in templates, so I'm closing it. So I will come here, search relationship, entity relations. Look at it. So what am I doing? This is an endless canvas. Just keep working and it keeps expanding. So what I want to do is to create these entities. Let me open my office. Entity at this point means table. Entity relationship diagram is a diagram that, shows the relationship between tables. That's what entity relationship diagram is. So the thing about this is, if you're able to create this, you already know how your table communicates. You already know how your table communicates. I showed you that last night with my SQL. I showed it to you. The database Sequila. So I will open this restaurant database. Let's build some tables, guys. Let's build some tables. It's going to make sense. All right, so these are the tables we want to build. These are the tables. So my menu table, if you guys can open it so you can be telling me for it to be fast, let's build this thing together. The name of my table is menu. Menu item, that's the first table I want to build. I copy it. So this is table, this is the entity. I want to use this. So you can see this has keys. I'll just drag it and drop it here. So easy to use, guys. This is the entity means the table name. I'll put the table name here. That's how it is. How easy it is. When I click on it, you can see that I can edit it by the side here. I can edit it by the side here. So the name of mine, if you can open this and be telling me the column names, I will be happy. The first column is item ID, which is a primary key. Can you see that? So item ID is the first column and is a primary key. So I will say, I will keep everything small letter. And it's a primary key, I'll put it PK. ID will make it integer, data type, asking us data type, what is it? It's an integer. All right, so the next one, what do you think it will be? Item name. What kind of data type will item name have, guys? Talk to me. What's happening? All the persons that are so eager to learn SQL, what is happening? What kind of item name what kind of data type will item name have?
That's
Yes.
Okay, so we can call it variable character. So it's important to start using the word. All right, so the next one, I'll just reduce this thing. The next name is what? You guys are not helping me. Description, price. So I removed the keyword here, the keys here, because it's no longer, the only thing we need is primary key here. But when we get the foreign key, we'll still do it. Description. Description, what is it? It's still text, so we can call it varchar. That's the way we call it. The other one is price. So I've exhausted my space here, so I can just come here and I will increase it by the side here, decrease the number of fields to whatever I want. So the other one is price. It will be, I'll make it float, or I'll make it decimal. What's the other one? Category ID. Now you can say category ID is a foreign key. Can you see that? So I will go put it category ID. Since it's a foreign key, I will indicate it here. Foreign key. Data type is, I'll make it int. All right, so we are good. Yeah, all the columns are finished. So I will reduce this to 5. Oh, sorry, I made it 6. All right, so we're done with this table, guys. We can actually format it. font. Can make it look better, like give it different color. You know, you can just give it some nice color. Whatever you want to do is up to you. I'll keep it by the side. I am done with this table. And when I said foreign key is category ID, so can we go and create category table so we'll be able to communicate, we'll be able to communicate with it. So category table, yes, that's the next. Brilliant. So I picked it up and I'll come here. I'll pick the one I like using. This. Again, the name is category. That is the entity name. What is the appetizer? What's that? Category contains. Oh, so this is the column. Category ID is the primary key and the category name. That's only 2 columns. Category ID and category name. So the primary key there is category ID. Say it's primary key. PK, and it is an ID, we'll make it integer. Then the category name is test. Let's make it varchar. And sorry. All right. It's not any key. It's not a key. It's not a key. So I will reduce this to 2. All right. So now here we are. Let me make it consistent with this. So now you can see there is a primary key here and there is a menu item, the category. It means one category. So there is category ID here, which is a foreign key. It means in this menu item, there will be several categories. In this menu item, in all the menu, there will be several categories. So in this case, we will map this category name. See where my key is. I could just push it to this place. So from here, watch where the key is. I'm taking it from this primary key. I am mapping it to the foreign key here. And this is what we call one-to-many relationship. One item here maps to so many here. And let me show you the example here with the table here. One item here, just one, male, ID 1, maps to this and also maps to this. So this is what we call one-to-many relationship. One to many, this is how it is. This is the sign, one-to-many relationship. Or you give it one, to many. Relationship. Do you have any questions here? Any question here, guys? Oh, is nobody talking?
Oh, no.
So this makes sense because what we just did is what you're seeing. So you can see that we have actually built a relationship on Lucid Chat. So before you start designing that database, you need to come here and create that entity relationship diagram. You need to come here and create it. So if I create another one, which is the last one I'm going to create, and I will allow the to do their thing. So here, the foreign key is customer ID, which means I have to create up to 2. All right, so let me see the one that's. So somehow all these tables communicate with themselves. Other item, other ID, foreign key is other item, and other item and other communicates. Category, let's see any other one. Staff is primary key. Inventory ID, item, ID. All right, so good. So let's create inventory. Item ID is a foreign key there. So let's create inventory. So I'll bring another one here again. The name is this. Column names are inventory ID. So this is a primary key. And it's an integer. The next column is item ID, which is actually a foreign key. It's an integer. Next column is stock quantity. It is also an integer. So I will increase columns. The next is unit cost. Unit cost, I will make it float, because we could have in cents or in pence. We don't have this. And the last there is to restock. The last date it was restocked. So that means you could actually put another type, another. Okay, the last date was restocked, that's fine. Okay, so I'll call this date. All right, I want to make it consistent color. So here we have foreign key. So this primary key, we have to talk with this foreign key, item ID, item ID. Now, see how it's making sense. If you pick the other ones, you will see how they communicate. And that is it, guys. Any question? So from this point, you pick it up, you can actually save it. You can share it. I'm going to now share this so that when you're creating yours, you will share the link. Don't come back and tell me you did not see the link. So I'm sharing it on chat now. As you copy it now. All right, so here we go. You can share it so another person can see. Now I made it that you can edit, but I will just make it that you can only view. That's, as you have the link, you can only view it. You can't edit it. Anyone with the link can view. I don't want, okay, so it means you have to log in to be able to get it. All right, so we'll give everyone access. We will account, and then I invite everyone with the email so you can go and access. So you can go and access. All right, so this is it. Any question? You can save it if you want. I save it. Save file. Okay, so you can export it. So you can export it to Microsoft Visio, Raw.io, Lucid Spark, OmniGraph. Oh, sorry, you can import the one you already had before. But if you want to export it, you can export it to PDF, PNG. So this one, if I want to export it to PNG, this is how it's going to look like. This is how it's going to look like. And when I go, I will just download it and generating the file. It's completed. Here we go. And you can put it, you can add it to your story, those writing user story. But much more than adding it to your acceptance criteria, it is part of documentation. You know, when you want to boast that you have a project, this is part of the thing you want to use. When you want to write an article about how to create a simple inventory database, you have to put this. This is part of the stages you must pass through. You put it there, and before you start writing, you'll be able to explain all these concepts. So guys, that is it. I know it's so much, but the more you practice, the better you become. Question time. We have 7 minutes left. Question time. Nobody's asking question. All right. We're just starting.
No question.
We are just starting SQL, remember.
No question. I think need more practice.
Starting SQL. We've not scratched anything. We can see the challenges I passed through. All right, so let me just admonish you. So you see the challenges I passed through. I was just seriously doing the wrong thing, and it's telling me I'm doing the wrong thing. And I was blaming it, instead of blaming it on my code, I was seriously blaming it on my system, innocent system. These things happen all the time. Please, inward when you have challenges. When you have challenges, look inwards. Your computer is not always the problem. See, debug your code. Check the syntax that you're using, that it is still in line with the code you wrote. Most times it might possibly be the problem. And when the code becomes complex, you may want to go through your code line after line, or block after block, to be able to debug it. So don't let that little challenge deter you. It is part of the whole system. There is no one in this industry that does not experience bug. So as a matter of fact, this bug had pity or not, it was just a few minutes. Some bug can take you a whole week before you can debug it. And in fact, let me even stop talking. I hand over to Bonaventure. He knows more about those bugs. If he's Bon, are you here? Or Chika, both of you know more about bug. Please talk to them. I am signing off. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kinsley. Thank you so much. I mean, like all of you are saying, that it needs more practice. So one thing with SQL, right, or even any querying or programming language, right, you need to practice it. The more you practice it, the more you get better at it. And don't worry, like Kinsley said, don't worry if your code is not working or it's being highlighted. You will see a lot of that. Even when we start our automation testing, you will see a lot of that. And sometimes, like you said, you can stick, keep debugging, and even sometimes you might not even find out where the bug is that day, right? You need to chill and relax, go walk around, take a cup of tea, and come back to it. So these things does happen. So yeah, it was a very wonderful class today, and thank you, Kinsley, once again. I will employ all of us to go watch the video once it's been uploaded. Practice it. Practice. You don't just learn by watching the video. You learn by practicing. You need to start writing the codes. You need to start executing it. You need to watch it, execute, and you need to see your result. The moment you start doing that, you start getting your result, it would motivate you to write more code and see your result as well. The more you write it and you get it, the more you see your result. And if you're writing and it's not working, do not be deterred from continuing, because that is what will help you to go and research. And the more you are researching, the more you're learning and you're getting used to the language and all those things. So yeah, is there any question before we call it a night? Any question? Okay, so in the absence of any question, is there any concern, anything anybody want to raise? Okay, so other than that, yeah, we'll call it a night. Do have a wonderful night, sleep well, and get ready for tomorrow. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Kinsley. Thank you, Bona. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night, Blessing.
I mean,